Hello everyone, and welcome back to Trading Secrets. Today's topic, the Indian Ocean trade with East Africa. Yes, I'm right there with you. Did you even know that was a thing? I didn't until a little family trip took me to Fort Janjira off the coast of Maharashtra and introduced me to a part of Indian history that made me go, interesting. You see, the Indian state that I'm from has a crazy amount of forts, most of which were either captured or built by the homegrown Maratha Empire. But this jewel was a fort contemporary to the Marathas, but was never captured by them. It belonged to the Siddhis, who were East Africans. This tiny smidgen of information was enough for me to go, well, let's explore this, shall we? The Indian Ocean trade with East Africa flourished in the medieval ages. But that's not necessarily when it started. The coastal cities of countries such as Somalia and Ethiopia lay on the route that the Egyptians took to trade between Rome and India. So we can safely say that the connection goes back at least as far as 1st century BCE. There are a few dodgy sources claiming the Egyptian queen Hatshepsut referring to an Indian port city in some text, but I shall not serve half-baked truth on this channel. Indo-Roman trade declined by the 6th century CE, but trade with East Africa only went up. It merged with the new and improved and rapidly growing Arab trade in the 8th century CE. It was the coming together of several factors that gave this trade route a boost. The astrolabe, apart from looking super cool, was super handy. The dhow ships, apart from looking super cool, were super fast. The monsoon winds, apart from being super cool, continued to be super reliable, and the magnetic compass was also there, and getting better and better by the day. The countries that took part in East African trade all fell coincidentally on the eastern part of the continent, these being Ethiopia, Somalia, Kenya, Tanzania, and Madagascar. At the dawn of the 6th-7th century, this region was also relatively conflict-free and had well-urbanized city-states. What these city-states gained from trading across the Indian Ocean were spices, cotton, silk, and porcelain. A lot of these goods weren't necessarily Indian, but many flowed through the Indian ports westwards. They further acted as middlemen trading these goods further into Africa, with the flourishing empires of Mali and Ghana. So money and goods were constantly flowing through these city-states, helping their economy. In exchange, what India sought from Africa was the same thing they wanted out of most trade routes: gold. But while gold was a precious metal, there was another resource that dominated this trade: people. People who were bought by the Arab traders and sold to Indian rulers, mostly the Nawabs, the Sultanates, but also the Chola Empire in South India. They were people predominantly of the Bantu-speaking areas of the region and were either already Muslims or were converted to Islam somewhere along the way. Once they were under Indian rulers, they were stationed as either soldiers or personal bodyguards. The term most commonly associated with them today is Siddhi. Siddhi could have either been derived from Sid, meaning master or ruler in Arabic, or Saidi, meaning captive or prisoner of war, also in Arabic. Another word associated with them is Habshi, which is an Indianized version of the word Abyssinian. Several of the Siddhis went on to hold powerful positions at royal courts, some gaining their freedom and establishing their own kingdoms. Like the rulers of Janjira, the ones I was talking about at the start of the video. Similarly, there was the Habshi dynasty of Bengal, which ruled for a short period from 1486 to 1493. But perhaps the most famous of them all is Malik Ambar. He is said to have commanded an army of nearly 1.5 million men and was hired by local kings. He became the de facto ruler of the Ahmednagar Sultanate and even teamed up with the Maratha rulers to stave off Mughal expansion into Deccan. Definitely read up on this guy. His story is fascinating. There are also records of Siddhi women being queens to Muslim monarchs or working as personal bodyguards for Muslim queens. Soon after Vasco da Gama found a way for Europeans to get to India via the Cape of Good Hope, what had been largely trade now became conquest. The Portuguese, the Dutch, the British, they started exploiting these trade routes for their resources and started two-way human trafficking. The Portuguese transported Goan Christians to Mozambique and vice versa. So what was already a morally grey trade route became even more vicious under colonial powers. What remains of the Siddhis in India are pocket communities in the western states of Gujarat, Karnataka, and some in Andhra Pradesh. With very little connection to their ancestral lands, on the surface they seem well integrated into Indian culture. Even their histories and stories are largely cut out of our history textbooks, and remnants of their legacies are found in crumbling forts. Most of them are not economically well off, are quite marginalized, and are not spared from racism or colorism that plagues India. Now, no video of mine will be complete without me providing archaeological evidence of trade. I've already mentioned the Janjira fort and have been showing paintings of the Siddhis. But let's first get my least favorite subject in archaeology out of the way: pottery. Fragments of Chinese pots or potsherds are found along the East African coast, mainly at Kilwa. They appear to be high quality traded porcelain and not just little bits and pieces that washed up on the shore. And now onto my favorite subject: food. Not just in archaeology, but in life in general. Ethiopian food, while not super directly influenced by Indian cuisine, does have hints of Indian flavors and spices. And as for the rest of the eastern coast, they started consuming the Asian variety of rice, which was actually not a good idea for the ecology in the long run. The baobab trees, which are famously Africa-bound, have also been found in some places in India. Recent carbon dating analysis puts them roughly around 800 years ago, so it's very likely they came along with this trade. The baobab tree is rich in vitamin C, which is essential for all maritime traders to prevent scurvy. So maybe it was planted by the seafarers. But there's no consensus on what exactly happened, but it's super cool nevertheless. Another random fact I found was that domestic chickens and black rats were introduced to East Africa during this trade. So, you're welcome. Okay, maybe not for the black rats, but chicken! And lastly, we have language. Swahili, of course, has a lot of Arabic in it, but it also has loan words from Gujarati, Hindi, Sanskrit, and Urdu. The Umadic slang word for tobacco is Surat, a city in India, because that is where they bought tobacco from. And that brings us to the end of the video. You know, with every topic, I've been discovering parts of Indian history, or global history, that I never knew existed. But I can't know what I don't know. So if you guys ever have any suggestions for topics for me to look into and investigate and make a video on, please send them my way. And if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to let me know in the comments below. Like it, share it with your friends, and subscribe to my channel already. I'll see you again soon. Bye-bye.